Hi, I'm Michelle Lewis,
And I'm Craig Lewis,
and this is the Running Tales podcast.
which is all about this.
Hi, my name is Michelle Lewis. 10 years ago, you'd have been lucky to see me run to the end of the road. These days, running is second nature to me. From marathons to park runs to putting my own running group through their paces. You'll often see me in suitably loud attire, getting ready to pound the pavements. And here's a secret, if I can do it, you can too. There's so many wonderful and inspiring stories in the world of running. And not just running, some of my favourite tales involve those who take to their wheelchairs, bikes or simply their own trusty feet in an attempt to get fitter, faster or just have some fun. In this podcast, I'm going to be in conversation with some of the most inspiring and fascinating of these people. Remember, it's your time, your speed, your way. The only person you need to keep up with is yourself.
Today's guest on Running Tales is Wright, a 64-year-old ultra runner, lay pastor and environmentalist. He's an ambassador for the 1,800-kilometre Monarch Ultra, which combines his passion for running with a desire to raise awareness about the plight of monarch butterflies. I really enjoyed my conversation with him today, so settle back and have a listen to his story.
Hey, Craig. Good morning and afternoon, I guess, in England there. I started running at 55 years old. That's not an early age to start running there. My dad died at 47 years old, which is extremely young, of a heart attack. And my doctor, for a regular checkup, I went in for a checkup, normal, nothing major, but he says, Carl, you don't want to be on blood pressure meds. You don't want to be on statins the rest of your life. I'm going to give you 6 months to get everything down, come back in 6 months. So they had a running club at my work there, and they kept asking me if I wanted to join this. No, I don't want to join. I haven't ran since I was 18 there. So after the doctor said that, I says, okay, I'll try it, and hated it. I did not like running at all. And I was training for this. It's good to have something to shoot for. My first race was a half marathon there, and it was for raising funds for a charity in Africa for water and all that. And so I felt accountable. So I did it, and it was a pretty elative feeling to finish. I felt really, really good at myself, and all of a sudden I was hooked into running and haven't looked back there.
So it was kind of the, rather than the drudgery, if you like, of training and getting into running, it was the joy of doing a race and feeling that you'd finished.
Yeah, it's quite a contrast, because it was in Toronto, so like it's half, like it was during the Toronto Marathon. I was doing the half, and so you have all these people along the side cheering for you, ringing cowbells, and it was like neat experience, and you felt like a superstar when you're finished there. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you because we'll get onto it in a bit, the sort of amount of running you do now, but do you still live for the races, or have you found a way to enjoy training?
Yeah, I love getting out. I'm a trail freak. I love getting out into the trails, and I find them really helpful for my mental health, and that spills over to your physical health when you're out running as well there. So I don't do as many races as I used to. A bit of it's environmental, because I don't travel as far as I used to anymore. Big on we're in a climate crisis, but I got out for a race yesterday, and it was one of those races that was a bit of a growing experience. I didn't finish there, but it was hot. It was about 40 degrees on the into the 40s with the Humidex and all that.
So how far was that race?
That was 96K there.
96K. So that's a pretty extreme race, and especially
I pulled out after 60 there. My wrists and my hands, it was a salt issue. I wasn't getting enough. I had salt tablets. It wasn't getting enough in me there. It's always so hard to judge. So my wrists and hands were so swollen. The medics were looking at it. Says, I don't think you should go out again there. So I rested. I had I took electrolyte salts and water, and all of a sudden everything started dropping. I was like, I kept peeing and peeing and peeing, and everything was back into balance again there. Just things got out of whack, eh? And the hot weather, some people affects people. Some people were cramping, other people were feeling dizzy, and so the body, it's an incredible thing uh, how it reacts to different things. It gives you signals, eh? And things are not right there.
Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
there's a learning curve. Right? So I know that I have to do more heat training. I'm a bit of a wuss. I will pick my runs in the morning or the evening, beat the heat. So this was a sort of a learning curve for me. So I have to suck it up and get out in the hot weather to train for something, because you don't know like the weather forecast what it's going to be at race day, and so I didn't train like I should have for that race in that regard for the heat there. Yeah, so the body wasn't quite adjusted to it there. Yeah.
No, well, that's kind of fascinating. A few sort of thoughts that come into mind as you're speaking about that experience. I mean, first of all, you've obviously done a lot of ultras. You're an ultra runner. Perhaps we'll touch on some of those in a second. But you are treating this as a learning curve. You know, when you're sort of running, I don't want to make them sound easy, but half marathons or even marathons, the sort of expectation is to finish, and there's massive disappointment if you don't. Now, obviously, you want to be finishing the ultras you do, but you don't. I'm sure it's a learning thing, and I'm sure there's an element of disappointment. But you seem quite laid back about it. Is that
Yeah,
fair? Or
very. I'm 64, so I'm very like the medics who looked at me. They were, they almost they were so astounded that I did that distance in that heat. The one guy is a 21-year-old, and he's done his max he's ever done is 8 kilometers there, and the 51-year-old, he has to run 2 kilometers to keep his credentials up there. So he ran 2 kilometers, but he says almost killed me there. So I felt really these two guys. I left before the last loop. It was 8 loops of 12. Two guys were in the lead, and we ran quite a bit together. I was strong for the first bit there, and they're young and they're so strong, but they really looked up to me, and that it just blew me away there. It just really blew me away there. That like they inspired me, but they felt that I was inspiring them. But yeah, we help each other and we inspire each other. And for me, I'm very excited I did the 60 there.
but I think it's fair to say that you're not a regular DNF'er, or that you certainly finished a lot of races as well. So do you want to sort of talk through people some of the races and some of the distances you have achieved?
Yeah, that was my first DNF there. So it's the race director is sort of a bit of an honor. She said that DNF there. So I've done this is my the 17th there. So the one I've done a North Face 50K 50 miler, sorry. I've done one stage race with Ray Zahab. I don't know if you heard of Ray Zahab. He ran across the Sahara there,
Okay.
and then he's done a lot of art. He is the director of this race called Bad Beaver Ultra. It's a stage race. It was hot. It's 150K over 3 days, where you kind of carry all your support with you there, eh? And it was my toughest one, and I think there was 35 that started and 17 finished, but it was one of those things that everything worked perfectly, and you don't know on the race day if it's just one of those things that it could have went either way there. Yeah. And even though yesterday wasn't, but it was I'm very excited, very happy. Very happy how it went there. Yeah. So I just glad that no one was seriously hurt in the race, like heat exhaustion or worse, like so everyone was they ran pretty smart. All the other runners too. Like I had a friend that had to stop as well there after 36K, and she did really well there.
Yeah, I mean, either these races are incredibly challenging, and I'm interested as to. I mean, we sort of spoke about why you started running, but you could have potentially got your health in a better situation by running 10Ks.
Yeah, it's strange. I wasn't my first ultra wasn't planned on being an ultra. my first ultra I was running, actually it was a 25K, which is my biggest race I had ever. Actually, I did a marathon before. My mistake there. My biggest trail race was a 25K there, and I had trained for a 25K, and I was running with my niece, who was doing the 50K. And after my 25K, just before it, she says, "Uncle Carl, I'm really going to miss you." and this is, I was thinking, can I actually do this thing? Can I pull this thing off? And it was tough. It was tough because my mindset was I have 1 kilometer to go, and all of a sudden I got 26 kilometers to go. But I felt good, and I was able to finish it with her. And a lot of it, mental is a lot of trying to push past those mental barriers that some things that our bodies are messed up. We got to listen to our bodies, like yesterday there. But sometimes if things are going well, we keep see what we can do there. Yeah.
And is it kind of that idea of pushing your body as hard as you can that keeps you going?
Yeah, it is. It is. I know that. Yes, I have limits that are what but some people, Ray Zahab says, I don't know how the quote goes, but you don't, you push, he's, don't know how it goes, but push as hard as you can to see what you can do, sort of thing there. Yeah.
I want to talk to you about one of your other passions aside from running. You're a big environmentalist. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your work there, but also how it fits in with your running?
Thank you, Greg. Yes, I love. I'm a passionate person with the environment. Joined an ambassador of what's called the Monarch Ultra, which is a relay. I don't know if you have Monarchs in England at all there in UK there.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. I did not know that. So we have in North America, we have a migration because in Canada they are not able to survive this kind of cold weather in Canada, so they migrate to Mexico, and say they will migrate for roughly from where I live around 4,300 kilometers to get to Mexico, and like an insect, the weight of a paper clip. And they are now endangered. Like just recently, they've been announced that they're endangered as well there. So we had in 2019, we did a relay that was before COVID, that started in Ontario, Canada, and it ended up at the sanctuaries they gather in the mountains of the sanctuaries in Mexico, the central Mexico there. And so it's 4,300 kilometers, 47 days we ran this. And so I did a stage in Ontario. And then when I was doing this stage, the director asked if I would come down to Mexico to help run a little bit, because they didn't have all the registrations full. They wanted this continuous, of course, there, because the Monarchs do it continuously there. So I went down, and Mexico was amazing. Both the people, they almost revere the Monarch. It's such a special thing to them. And when you're running, because the Monarchs, when you go closer to Mexico, where the sanctuaries are, it's called a Texas funnel, and the area is very, very narrow where they migrate. And you're looking up, and you're literally running with the Monarchs. You look above, and you see them flying with you. It is just an amazing inspiration and amazing sight there. So I would hate this year has been a tough year for Monarchs in my area. I haven't seen that many of them there, so it's quite concerning there. So I try to continue to do that and try to encourage races to be more environmental, sustainable, and all that there if I can. So a lot of them are yesterday's race. They were cupless there. Little things like that all make the difference, eh? So there's no throwaway cups at all in the race. You had they provided a vessel that you would have, and then and you'd have to carry a lot of fluid with you as well, so you'd have something else. But it's good things like that help out.
And you touched on it earlier, but I think you're very careful about what races you enter now, because you don't want to be putting a huge carbon footprint on getting to them.
Yes. It's the most I will drive now. I would love. It's funny. Yeah, I have a friend actually through Twitter. I haven't met her. She's from Switzerland, Katrina Denker, and she does all these ultras, and she takes a train to these races, and and the race starts at the train station, and the ticket price for the train is included in the registration. Is how amazing is that there? And there's like we're very, very car culture in North America there. Everything revolves around the car. And so every ultra race, trail race, it's always, you have to get into your car. So I would love to, if we can find some kind of platform where we can carpool or something, that would be pretty amazing, because every kilometer of driving is like 38 grams of carbon into the atmosphere there, and so that's a big thing there for me there. And I love races. I love to and so people who can't drive, doesn't have a car, which there are people in the cities, they can't go to these races because they haven't got access to them there without with a car, whether they rent a car, which is extremely expensive sometimes there, and so it's every little bit helps there. And I know other runners do other things for the environment as well there. And
yeah, I guess we're pretty lucky in England, in Britain, because it being a significantly smaller country where everything's a lot more closer together. I mean, people do drive to stuff, of course they do, but probably there's more events a lot more closer to where we are all the time. Whereas I'm kind of guessing here, but I'm thinking because of the comparably vast expanse of Canada, you can, to get a near event, you may have to be going a fair old distance.
Yeah, we there's 2 races that I am able to attend under 60 kilometers, but there's a lot of races in Ontario, but they're more focused near the population centers, which makes sense there. And for me, I'm further north there, and so carpooling would be the best option in that sense. In that sense there, yeah. Yeah, I have checked in races in England there as well, and there is some races that do take the train right close by too. It's pretty amazing there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've not heard of that, so I love the idea.
Yeah, Wales. I don't know if you're in Wales, or this is Wales there, so you're closer to London, eh?
Yeah, so we're in Northampton, which is just an hour outside of London. But okay. So we can get to Wales reasonably quickly as well if we need to. Although it might normally be a car journey.
Very good there.
I'm guessing as well that with that environmental idea in mind, that part of why you love trail running is getting out and enjoying the country, whatever country's around you. And as well as that question, I suppose the second part of that is what country is around you where you are?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. This area around here is a lot of southern Ontario, so we're still in the hardwood forests and all that. A lot of maples, and there is further north you get into less maple. So I'm right at close to the line where you get into the another 2 hours north, you wouldn't get into the hardwood forest anymore. So it's sort of a very pretty area. We're an hour north. I'm an hour. Well, Toronto is big, but to the outskirts of Toronto, you say it's about an hour there. And I never go to Toronto, though. It's quite ironic. It's so big, so close in a sense to Toronto, but I don't go to Toronto. And so people want to know where I live. I said, well, Toronto, but I don't know. Ever go to Toronto. So the one race yesterday was sort of halfway in between Toronto and where I live there. But yeah, around here it's a lot of one of my favorite areas to run is Copeland Forest. It's a provincial protected forest, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's only about 5 kilometers away there. And I do a lot of my training there. You can actually go for about 30 kilometers and not go on the same trail. There's a lot of interconnecting trails and all that. So it's pretty nice that way there. There's actually streams where I have a filter, and in that sense, it's good for long distances. You can actually have your water filtration system, and you can just filter your own water on you go, so you don't have to carry a lot of water in your back. And that way you keep it's almost like your own aid station for filling up for your water and all that there. Yeah, which is nice. It's nice there.
I mean, it sounds a pretty idyllic sort of place to run, and hopefully with the odd butterfly as well. How
Yes,
much do you
yes.
worry that we're destroying these sort of
Yeah,
environments?
it's very, it's almost called like a climate anxiety, eh? When you see it's our planet like it's warming up. You had your heat wave and right in UK recently. How hot did it get there? Right?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, it got up as well. It was certainly expected to get up as high as 40, and I think in London it might have done that, but most places were certainly around 35, which for
That's
us is
that's
pretty
brutal.
hot.
That's brutal. Like very unusual for your where you live, eh?
Yeah,
And they had that out west as well, and in the west coast of Canada, and completely unheard of temperatures on the same idea, 35 to 40, and they have major fires because it all and that all can sort of steamrolls, eh? And it compounds itself. In Canada, in the Arctic, we are warming because what's happening. The Arctic is cooled because of the ice, and the ice is melting. It's like our air conditioning that's being shut off. And what happens when the ice is gone? It's dark. It's almost like black asphalt. Eh? It's so much hotter than grass there, of course. And so when you don't have the whiteness of the ice and you have dark soil, it actually is so much hotter again. And so it compounds. So it's the Arctic is warming 3 times faster than anywhere else on Earth there, and that's the major concern for us here in Canada as well. There, yeah. And certain areas in the States where Sierra Nevada, where they depend on snow fields for water, the glaciers are melting and all that, and so they're having those droughts so it's a lot of concern there. Yes. So you just don't know what, like the anxiety, you don't know what you can do. You're so small, and so we try to encourage each of us to do little things there, just to help out where we can there.
it is sometimes really hard to think what you can do, particularly when sometimes you see or you think I'm just a small person, and you see massive governments or companies or whatever polluting at a high level. Do you think there's particular things that runners can do?
Yeah, runners. That's a good point. It's a good point because for me, from my own point, as I'm like cutting back my travel time there, I think like I do a little running group in Hillsdale, where it's a very small village there, and we get conversations going, and we talk during a run. Sometimes the conversations flow, don't they? There, eh? During
Yeah.
runs, and we talk about the environment. I'll talk about the monarchs, and just to encourage one another, just how we can just that one person at a time. Conversations during a run can make a difference sometimes. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that is one of the things that runners are good at when we get out in groups, is having a good chat and setting the
Yeah.
world to right.
Exactly right. I love like even yesterday. I love getting together with even. You seem like you might see people on the street never talk to, but on a race, it's so much different environment, and so it's so much more relaxed. You can talk it's running does that, isn't it? There.
Definitely, and I think with you, mental health and running are two things that you feel go together quite well too.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. It's really you see that on Twitter and a lot of runners that they really time out on a run is the endorphins. It's whatever the term is. It's a calming. It's a settling, get back to de-stressing, everything that's so much involved with that. It's just I don't know where I'd be with it running. Basically, it's really helped stabilize, and so it's been a tough year in different ways, but in running has really helped me there. Yeah.
I know that you have a blog, don't you? And you've spoken there about some of the challenges you had during the pandemic and mental health around that, which I think running really helps you with.
Yes. Yeah, I enjoy running. Writing is actually a bit of a release as well there. And one of the things for my blog, actually, I during the my training for my first half marathon, I started writing about it and people said, one person particularly says you should start a blog. So what's a blog sort of thing there? And so that's how it all started there. And it's been nice, but and that's been a bit of an outlet where I can talk about environmental as well. It's been a share my heart and sometimes very open, very what's going on and personal, transparent, all these things there, and so you see me as I am there. Yeah.
And you have another love as well, because as well as all the environmental stuff and all the running stuff, you're a lay pastor as well, aren't you?
Yes.
Does that fit in with your running, or is that?
It does. It does there. Actually, obviously, no one in a church. I've been mostly elderly congregation, so they don't particularly run, but they love hearing about my runs and the crazy antics and all that, and so they always love to see my medals when I came. And some races don't give out medals; they give out socks, and so who would run 50K for a pair of socks? And they all laugh and all that there. Yeah, it's actually been and it's neat as a pastor just to share a bit about running and how it is part of my life and as well there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think we all have weird and wonderful things sometimes that we get in our sort of goodie bags at the end of runs, don't we? It's incredible.
Yes, exactly. There, yes.
Probably need a new pair of socks at the end. That's not the worst one I've heard.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Oh, I know. Yeah, they're beautiful socks too.
Yeah. That's good. With the church, I mean, I think there's almost a bit of a comparison here. You have to excuse me if it's a little bit glib, but when we run in our groups of people and we chat through our what we've done in the day, and we talk about some of our problems and so on, it's almost like a little church congregation.
It is like a little church. Exactly right, Craig. It's a good analogy there. Yeah, yeah, definitely there. I like that. Yeah.
You can use that in your next sermon.
You can use that. Yes, exactly. I will use that. That's right there. Yes.
Good
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice there. Yes.
Talking about next, you obviously had this DNF yesterday, so you might not be thinking immediately. But are there any other runs or races on your mind, or is it just more getting out with nature and training?
Right, this year be more getting out in nature, unless something comes up that Carl, I want to ride together for a race there. But yeah, so getting out in nature, it's been a good year that way. So races are nice in that it sort of forces you to train and to get yourself more motivated to do in that sense. So this year I haven't got anything else lined up, but I'll still continue to get out and enjoy nature and get out for my runs and out to Copeland Forest. And
what would kind of be your tips to people who think, well, this sounds great, Carl's got himself more healthy, he's enjoying his running, he's getting out in nature. How can people get out there and do a bit of running themselves?
Yeah, actually little run groups. The one in Hillsdale, a lot of people it's that first step really to make that step, and just so they always think they have to be able to run 5K. They have to run even a kilometer. Says no, you don't have to. You just we love to have you out. Come join us. So just even if it's just to start off there, and in little steps, and take it from there. You don't have to be everybody has to start somewhere, and for me, at 55, I didn't like the thought of a half marathon absolutely scared the dickens out of me of finishing. How on earth am I ever going to do that? And so that first run, they're supposed to do 5K, and I might have ran a half kilometer of that, and I do a lot of walking, so I walked the rest. But and so the other groups hung with me, and I thought, how cool is that there? And that's the model what we do with my own little group in Hillsdale. Like we stick together, and so don't be intimidated by run groups. they will love you and welcome you and make you a part of this run group like you'll never believe there. And little steps there, and you may hate it at first, which like me, and it'll grow on you. It'll really grow on you there. Yeah.
I think run groups are really important. I mean, my wife Michelle, who I do this podcast with, she does some running groups, and she'll talk to people about the running at the front or running at the back, and you're allowed to do anything as long as you sort of regroup properly. But she calls the if you're at the back, she says you're in the party at the back.
I love that.
That's where the fun happens.
I love that. Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool there. Yeah, yeah. I've heard that party at the back, and yeah, and you get in races, you get the most value for your money when you finish at the last there. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's really true. Yeah, I've not thought of that before. There's no point going and doing these 2.5 hour marathons. You're wasting money.
I know. That's right there. Exactly there.
I'm guessing as you're doing ultras that there's a lot of walking involved, because there's always is in ultras as well. But have you sort of developed into quite a fast runner now, or are you?
I'm actually not. I'm a middle of the pack runner. I'm not a fast runner. No, I was. Most of them I will finish in the middle. I think I'm slowing down. I don't know if it's even though I have been running for 9 years, I don't think I'm definitely know I'm not as fast as I was 9 years ago. It's just an age thing catching up on you there. But like I'm not, yeah, so I'm middle of the pack. And so age is, it's the way body works. And this way they have Boston Marathon, Staggers things there, like where I was at 55 is a different time. Where I'll be at 60 now there, and that's in years time. 65 it's a different qualifying time, so age does play a factor. Embrace your age. It's that we all are. I feel good at 64, and sure I'm not going to be a podium finisher, but that's I'm happy, so excited for those that. So as yesterday, it's funny. They have one massive hill there, and obviously you're walking up this hill. That's the guy who was doing the 24K. He sprinted past me there, and he was young, and I congratulated him at the end, and he says, "Well, I have the age part on my side there," and so yeah.
But I was just saying, I had one final question for you, Carl. I think maybe it's the most important of them all, and hopefully a sign of what running can do. You started running because your doctor gave you this sort of warning. How are you now? Are you healthier than ever? Or
yes, I checked my blood pressure because my dad did die at 47. I check my blood pressure regularly, and it's the best it's been. Like it's 120 over 75, something like that there, and it's best than it's been in years there. Yeah, so I eat healthier, definitely healthier than I did back then too, so that plays a factor as well. I keep away from salts, except for yesterday. I could have used some more.
You needed them.
So actually, it's paramedics are quite intrigued by that, but like they know, but that they've never. This is the first time this group has done races, so they were quite intrigued by all this there. And I showed them my salt capsules and all that, but yeah, reducing salt. I'm not vegan, but I'm working toward, like, I'm cutting back a lot of red meats and all that there, and trying to I'm love to be. It's hard to lose weight. I'm still like to be 5-10 pounds less there, but I'm working. So, I love my chocolates and all that there. So it's that self-control there, eh?
Well, you're doing the distances to justify a bit of that, Carl. So I think that's absolutely fine. Listen, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's been lovely chatting today.
Been a pleasure, Craig. Thank you for talking to you there.